Hi, this is KBelcher, and this is my vlog presentation on Chapter 8 of our text, the Organizational Communication Ethics chapter, in particular this section on the community of memory. Community of memory within organizations is the pragmatic equivalent of an organizational conscience, identifying what has and hasn't worked and what actions influence communicative life together in its respective dwelling place. The term community of memory actually comes from Robert Bellah and his co-authors in a work that they produced. Community of memory frames an organization's identity and political life. Organizations offer places to participate, belong, play, and work. They situate our lives, giving meaning beyond our individual selves. Organizations, what is their practices, and their how is understanding gives shape to the good of an organization. The community of memory, though individuals may be in this same organization, their view of the good can be different. Argumentative parameters are set, creating guidelines that ground good reasons for a particular place. An organization holds more than one community of memory that offers a standard for challenge and change to other understandings of the good, other communities of memory. It responds to changing circumstances within an organization or risks becoming a dead tradition. Community of memory connects stories with meaning as well as these individuals tied to the meanings. It is not static, a live engagement with meaning, a collection of the past, and an engagement with the future. The next subsection that we get to is on active engagement, the organizational participation. As was mentioned in the previous section, community of memory cannot remain static. It is a place of new information that challenges history, a place of transformation and change, of shifting perspectives and its relation to the present. The ongoing challenge and reinforcement of the active sayings keep community of memory alive. It functions as a flexible and expansive set of argumentative parameters. The next subsection is on accountability, the organizational evaluation and the good. In our postmodern culture, the community of memory functions as a public conscience. The protection and promotion of a given good guide the retention of information or an event or practice. Repeated again in this section is that the community of memory is not static. It must be adaptable to change. Community of memory itself is accountable to the demands of the historical moment, to the now. It is an ongoing interplay among communicative practices and functions that test, challenge, reinforce, and at times change a given community of memory. It is a dangerous situation for an organization whose community of memory has gone dormant and no longer is an active part of everyday decision making. Next, we examine the finding, testing, and protection and promoting of the good. A community of memory offers a targeted place for both guidance and contention. An organization must be able to state effectively what it does and why it does it. Failure to do this is an ethics danger that invites pragmatic communicative consequences. The dwelling place is framed by the interplay of a community of memory and the communicative practices, the ongoing dialectic of saying. This is particularly present in businesses. The text gives the example of the Enron scandal from the early part of the 2000s and their downfall that was brought about by basically the illegal moving around of assets. In their early years, they were never able to give clear answers of what does the company do and what is their purpose, because all along they were an elaborate shell game and engaged in corruption, greed, and corporate negligence. There's no way to ensure 100% ethical conduct without question, but transparency is critical. The organizational good is the common center of guidance and eventual change. Our last section on community of memory actually applies to both the community of memory and the dwelling place, and applies it directly to a dialogic ethics in the organizational communication. The first step would be to listen without demand. What is happening in a given moment? Within organizational communication, the ethic begins with attentiveness to what constitutes as a given dwelling place. Next is attentiveness. What are the grounds to the self, the other, and the historical moment? The ethic ground that shapes organization communication for self and the other is attentiveness to the community of memory and to practices that remain alive and responsive. With the dialogic negotiation, what temporal communicative ethics answers emerge between persons? The dwelling place must be negotiated and remain vibrant and possess uniqueness of character that is carried by a community of memory and tested by changing circumstances. Listening, attentiveness, and dialogic negotiation constitute temporal ethical competence. Our responsibility is to engage the dialogue among a community of memory, communicative practices, changes in the historical moment, and the people and demands within a given organization. The dialogic ethic listens to what is before organizational members. Organizational communication ethics listens to the stories that frame a community of memory, connects responsibility to the dwelling place, and attends to the inevitable change reflected in communicative practices. Finally, I wanted to share with you some of the application that I decided to make that will deal with the community of memory and specifically to organized religion. And then beyond that, I'm going to research the communication of the Mormon leaders and dogma with direct application to the LGBTQ membership of the church. And part of my research will pull from Believer, a documentary by lead singer of Imagine Dragons, Dan Reynolds. Reynolds is a born and raised Mormon. He has come to a position in recent years as a very public sympathizer with the LGBT community within and also with outside the church. He produced this documentary, takes place last year, and it has just recently been released in the last couple months. And its goal was to raise awareness of a growing problem. I've included a link to the trailer for the documentary in case you would like to look it up, and I hope you enjoy it. This has been my presentation on the community of memory within the organizational communication ethics. I hope that you have enjoyed listening and that you have enjoyed it.